Why? But you see, this why can only be dealt with when you get out of your comfort zone. I call it a comfort zone because you know nothing else other than that. So when I went to take money for grocery at home, I got in a train and then I got off the Johannesburg station, went to the taxi, and then ran back. My mom was waiting for me in the street there, and she told me which street I must get off. Then we went to this house. She opens the gate. Now remember, I've never seen a tree-lined street with a tarred road in my life, let alone a big house. I only know what we called matchbox, and for me matchbox was a big house, you know, because there's 2 bedrooms in there. When I became, you know, clever, you know, the first time I remember is I was sleeping under the kitchen table. You know, at home when we were to go out, we looked like we were coming out of a stadium. That's how many we were. Some reason the uncles and the aunts, they were not in a hurry to get their own places, you know. And everybody's getting children. And the grandmother, oh my goodness. You know, so people had to work night shift. Others had to work day shift. So that there must be space for people to sleep. Now imagine when nobody's working, it's a weekend. Wow. So I slept under the kitchen table, but that's another story. What then happened is I get there and I freeze because I see water. And I ask my mom, why do they have water on the ground? And Mama said, don't be silly, you man. That's a swimming pool. But you see, I've never seen a swimming pool in my life. Ever. This was the first time. Even this word swimming pool to me was strange. Because I asked her, what do they do in a swimming pool? I said, no man. You see, when I take you to the village, you know, to visit your grandparents, remember, you guys, you go to the lake, you know, the dam, to swim. They do it in the yard. I said, oh. For me, it was wow, you know. But it didn't stop there. Now we get into the house, and then the family is happy to see me, you know, and so forth. Their youngest was my age, the child there. So we just hit it off immediately. You know, took me to his room to play with the toys there. But now, you know, nature calls in the most inconvenient of times. And this time it was number 2. Now, remember, when I do number 2, I go to a bucket. I've never seen a toilet in my life, let alone something that is flashing. So I run to my mom and say, where's the bucket? She said to me, hey, don't be silly. They don't use buckets here. What do they use then? Because I was like, then what do they use if they don't use a bucket? I said, no, come. There's a toilet. Toilet. We go there. Then she realized, hey, he doesn't know how to use a toilet. I said, okay, take off your pants. What do you want to do? I said, I want to do number 2. I said, take off your pants. Sit on this thing. You see this thing? Sit on top of it. And when you finish, you see this thing there? Pull it. That is now the tissue. Pull it. Wipe yourself. We use paper, newspaper, you know, no tissue. Then this little thing, just flush it. Everything will be done. Then there's the tap. Wash your hands. Then come outside. Well, she left. Closed the door. I did the business as I was told. Exactly, I followed the instructions. Now, when I flashed that water, I jumped and I fell down because I didn't know that, it, now the people were coming, they rushed and they opened, they found me on the floor. I said, what's wrong? I said, hey, water is coming out. Why am I telling you this story? The question for me ultimately was, why? Why are others living in this particular manner? And we are living in this way? Because that other way looks good.
Yeah.
It looks good. But why can't we have the same? And that is how the seed was planted in me. The second part is, and I'm not going to take too long with this one, I was sent to town to buy meat. For some reason, we black folks have this thing that the meat in town is better than the corner butcher, in the township. So that one is fresh. So you don't want to, to bring up your own, supporting your own, It was strange. I don't know why we believed in that, So straight to town. But that day, I told my grandmother, look, man, I took some pills to clean the stomach. I don't think I'm going to make it in town. Said, don't worry, those things, they take too long. Well, you can't argue with her. Took the money, got on a taxi. As I was in there's this long street in Johannesburg, called Commissioner Street. Now, as I was in the street, the stomach starts now. And I realized, hey, there's going to be a damage here.
Yeah.
And with one hand, I was already blocking things, And I was saying to the taxi, hey, wait. Because I saw outside there's a public toilet. I didn't even close the door because I was just in a hurry, because I could hear, hey, damage is going to happen here. I rush, straight in there. But something tells me, hey, man, you're in the wrong toilet. Because I see these two white guys smoking in there. But I told myself, in that split second, whatever happens, I'll deal with it later. Into the cubicle, prance down. I was the most relieved guy. Because now I felt better now. Did the business. Now I know how to use a toilet. That's the good thing now. Get out of there. And these guys in Afrikaans. Wat soek jy hier, kaffer? What is it that you want here? Keffer. And I pretended as if I didn't hear what they were saying. And then they switched to English. Don't you read? Didn't you see the sign outside? And I said, no, I didn't see the sign. I was in a hurry to do the business inside here. I got the beating of my life. I lost the money to buy meat. My family found me after 3 days at Johannesburg General Hospital. Beaten to a pulp. I was unconscious, I'm told, for 2 days of that. And you see, for me, this is the question. I am abused for answering the call of nature in a country that has programmated laws according to racial classification. My biggest sin was to answer nature. It was not the wrong place, the wrong time. That fueled my anger. And from there on, it was, we need to do something about this. And I started to meet guys. We started to talk, and we started to have these defiance campaigns. There was this Separate Amenities Act that determined the parks, the bus stops, the amenities, everything, even the buses themselves, the trains, first class, third class, citizens, So we are now saying, okay, look guys, what are we going to do? We are now going to go to the parks, exclusively white. We find them there, we enter. And then you see a bench. Remember in those days, our mothers who were the domestic workers, they will take the children of their employers to the park, to run around, to play. But remember, this is a white park. So they were not allowed to sit on the bench, only on the grass, because the bench is written strictly white, or in Afrikaans, slechte blankers. Even if it's empty, you can't sit on it. So we said, now we're going to sit on these benches. But we didn't target the empty benches. We targeted the benches where there are people sitting on them. So this two couple, the lady was knitting, the gentleman was reading the paper. Luckily, they left enough space, for me to squeeze myself in between them. If looks could kill, I'll be a dead man now. And they just politely stood up and left. Big victory. Because you must understand that you needed to show how ridiculous the whole thing is, So that's what we started to do. Go to the a bus stop for blacks did not have shelter. A bus stop for, and they're next door each other. A bus stop for whites has a shelter. Now it's raining. This one gets wet. This one is covered from the elements, or it's hot, Now we'll shift to the white bus stop before they arrive. When they come, they realize, man, it's occupied already. Oh, I was detained. I was beaten by the police. Look, it was a cat and mouse. But it was also talking to why we wanted to defy these laws. It was not about communism, capitalism for us, all those big fancy words, no. It was about addressing the practicalities, you see. But one day, I get a message that I must go to where my dad works. And it was one of the most devastating things ever. My dad, I didn't even know. He was a member of the ANC. And on this particular day, he goes to work. He's called in the office by his manager. So he tells him, hey, there's a letter that has arrived for you. Gives him the letter. My dad with his friend, they go to their locker. He puts his foot in there and the letter. He goes on and goes to work. Now the friend remembers, hey, by the way, you got a letter. What was that about? He said, I forgot about it. He goes back to the locker, opens it, takes the letter, opens the letter. That was the end of my father. He was blown to pieces. A head there, torso there, leg there, what there. When my dad was buried, he was in a black plastic bag in the coffin. (1977).